Good morning, everybody out there. It's Saturday morning, the start of a long holiday weekend for many of you. I'm meteorologist Zach Fridella, kind of bringing you the latest of what we're expecting over the next few days. And it's been a while. I haven't done one of these really all hurricane season. Yeah, we had some storms at the beginning or really before the season began, but it's been quiet. You don't want to see my face at this time of year. You want to see my face, in December, January when we're talking about snow, but not talking about snow right now. It's almost like every year it's the same thing. When we get to Labor Day weekend, we're always talking about some type of tropical system moving into the Gulf. And this go around, we're not talking about a massive hurricane, so that's good. But we are talking about the potential for tropical development. And I want to get that right out there right immediately. We're not talking about a hurricane moving into the Gulf. This is not going to be a hurricane moving into the Gulf. Could it strengthen a little bit? Yes, we could be talking about a tropical depression, tropical storm Gordon. Gordon would be the next name. You notice Florence out there. Florence developed overnight last night, but this thing is way off the coast of Africa. This is nothing for us to worry about for weeks, okay? So we're not even going to really mention it. That's something we'll deal with if it ever makes it across, which chances are it probably won't. The bigger story is what's closer to home. This X right here is our little tropical wave we've been tracking the past few days. If you've been monitoring me on social media, I've been saying, hey, this is something to watch. Right now, things are not favorable. It's not going to develop right now, but once it gets into the Gulf, things could become a little bit more favorable that we could pop, say, a tropical depression or tropical storm Gordon. This morning, the National Hurricane Center came out. They said, okay, well, we're going to up to a medium chance of development. It's been low, now it's medium. Eventually, it could go high when, say, the computer models come into better agreement of how this is all going to play out. Let's get right into the details with this thing, because what we have going on is sort of a squeeze play. The past few days, it's been kind of wet. At least in southeast Louisiana, it's been very wet. We have an upper level low. This is the kind that do not develop into tropical systems. That's almost near Florida. Here's our tropical wave. You see the bundle of clouds there. And then we have another tropical wave that's off the coast of Louisiana. This one is not going to develop, but this one is going to increase rain chances even more this weekend. So it's going to be a very wet period across southern Louisiana from, say, New Orleans to Baton Rouge all the way to Lake Charles. It's going to get wetter as we go into, later today, and then eventually Sunday could be the wettest day for southwest Louisiana, but that we're not worried about development with. What this upper level low is doing is the winds are blowing like this in the upper levels. Remember, wind shear, tropical systems don't like that, and that's exactly what's just blowing into this thing, and you can see the clouds just kind of shooting off the top. Wind shear is very strong. We're not expecting development in the short term. We're not expecting this to become anything over the next day or two. Once it gets somewhere around the Florida Straits, say late tomorrow into Monday, that's when this upper level low here is not going to be here anymore. Remember, the atmosphere is always moving. So this upper level low is going to drop south. When that happens, that wind shear is going to go over the Caribbean. It's going to get north of that upper level low, and over somewhere around here, that's where the conditions could become a little bit more favorable, that we could see this thing kind of consolidate and organize into a tropical system. Like I mentioned before, the next name on the list would be Gordon if this ever got to, say, becoming a tropical storm. Now, what does all this mean? What do we need to worry about in Louisiana? Still early. Still lots of questions to be answered. Right now, you just have to monitor the weather. It's a holiday weekend. Nobody pays attention to anything other than, spending time with family, being off, going on vacation. That's what people do, on a holiday weekend. So it's harder for us to get the information out there. So the earlier we can do it, the better. So the more information that I'm trying to get out there, early on, that maybe you'll just get notified. Just monitor the weather. We don't know what the eventual impacts are going to be from this system. We don't know where the track's going to be, really. But we do have a good idea that somebody along the Gulf Coast is probably going to see maybe a landfalling tropical depression or tropical storm. Sure, you've probably seen it. The European came out last night. Now, everybody knows the difference between a Euro and the GFS. If you follow weather in any kind of way, that's the two best models. The European shows a fairly stronger storm, not major hurricane, but a stronger tropical storm, maybe a weak hurricane in the southeast Louisiana. Then it sort of scoots along across Louisiana. That would be not good. That would be a lot of rain and bigger wind problems, because it could possibly be a weak hurricane at that point. But that's just one model run. I'm not even going to show it. I'm not getting that in depth right now. I'm just putting the idea out there that there could be some tropical development over the next few days over the Gulf. And it's such short notice that, you kind of need to just be monitoring things on a continuous basis in case this does strengthen a little more than what's possible right now. This is the probability map from the European. It shows where, the best chances are for a tropical depression to form. Notice how it's over the Eastern Gulf as we head into the next 24 to 72 hours. So this is getting us to Monday, Labor Day Monday. And then once we get into, say, Labor Day, late Labor Day into Tuesday, that's when those chances go up for Louisiana. So this is, if we were talking about a formed system, landfall could be as early as Tuesday. So all of a sudden you come back from, your vacation on Monday and it's like, whoa, we might have a landfalling tropical system on Tuesday. That is the concern right now. That is why, monitoring the weather in the next few days is going to be key, because we really don't know. We don't know how this thing's going to play out. We don't know if it's going to strengthen much. We don't know if it's just going to stay a weak wave. Either way, rain is coming. More rain than what we've seen. Now, if it forms a little bit more, the rain obviously is going to increase. And then if it takes that track where it moves into, say, southeast Louisiana, then goes west across Louisiana, that could be days and, days of heavy rain threats for all of the state. What if it stays offshore? What if it makes that little left turn? What if it just kind of rides inland? Lots of possibilities, lots of question marks, but right now we are tracking a tropical disturbance moving through the Bahamas, not going to develop in the short term, but once it gets into the Eastern Gulf, that's when the potential is there that it could develop into our next named storm, which would be Gordon. Just continue to monitor the latest. Once we get some new model data, last night the models kind of jumped on things a little bit more. They started showing more, formation of the system. Today's next runs between, say, lunchtime, noon to 2 o'clock, that's a key time, because if they show the same thing, then you're starting to get consistency in the models. And that's something we watch for as meteorologists. Again, I'm meteorologist Zach Fridella with an update on this Saturday morning. Continue to monitor the latest. Go about your business. Don't cancel anything, but just monitor the latest weather information as we kind of see things play out over the next few days.